Hello everyone, Scott Hache here for the Network Marketing Mentor Show, and today I have a very special guest with me, Robert Hollis. And Robert, he is an author of the book, How Is That Working? He's also a professional speaker, and he speaks at events all over the world, including one coming up as well, called the GoPro event, and he also is a very successful business person. He's actually making $2.5 million a year in residual income. That's not too bad. He's also a personal coach and a mentor to thousands of people. He has an online educational platform called Success in Minutes, which has over 87,000 people learning from it every day. And of course, he is here today to share with us a lot of information. So Robert, welcome to the call.
Well, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate you taking the time to go through this interview. I know that we've known each other for a long time. In fact, I've been blessed to actually use a lot of your platforms and training. So it's good to be able to do this interview. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. You are the Millionaire Mentor. You've documented over 45 millionaires that you've helped create, and they actually they credit you for their success. So we're excited to have you on the show to explain a little bit about all of how that works. So Robert, right out of the gate, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, because I know that it's a really good one.
Well, one of the things is everybody all the time, you can be in the right place at the right time. And of course, a lot of us have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. But me, I was just a mechanic, just going out there, going to school, wasn't really good in school. In fact, I got a learning disability. I'm dyslexic. So it's funny how school always focuses on what you're not good at, instead of being what you're good at. And so I ended up just working hard. I thought that was going to be the rest of my life. And then I got hurt and put on workman's comp. So in a blink of an eye, 6-9 months, I'm making $900 a month. I'm losing everything. And a friend calls me up and says, "Hey, listen, I met this guy. I seen his checks. They're 62 grand a month, and he's looking to expand his company in the local area." And he says, and would you be interested in meeting him? And I was like, hell, I'll come pick you up. And I didn't know it at the time, Scott, but I didn't know how important a mentor was until I was working with this guy. Well, I caught him. He was just leaving one company, going to another, trying to build, so he was wide open and active. And I just listened to everything that he told me to do. And I got instant results. I hear a lot of people that get involved in a home-based business or network, multi-level, whatever, and they struggle. And I believe the biggest struggle they get is just because of not being trained by someone that's documented. So I made like $258,000 my first year. I made over $1 million before I was 30. But a lot of the people that I introduced to my mentor were doing really well too. See, that's why my income went like crazy. And so I was blessed to be able to have a mentor that showed me how to do this for my first 7 years. And so as soon as I got that kind of success, then of course I wanted to recreate what my mentor did, for me, for other people. And so I'd like to say that I'm a genius, but what I did is I learned from someone that already knew how to do it, and I've been doing the same thing ever since. I've been adding, technology and platforms and stuff to it, but man, helping people become successful is awesome when you get a percentage of what they actually make for the company. It's ingenious. I'm definitely hooked.
What a concept. Now, you are known as the Millionaire's Mentor. So the big question is how do you make a millionaire?
Well, it's really simple. I know it sounds difficult, but when you find someone that's coachable, and they're actually in a mentality of willing to do what it takes to become successful. Of course, I can't do it for everyone, because a lot of people maybe they're too comfortable, or they're not coachable, they're know-it-alls, or they might even be in a position where they're just too much of a people pleaser. I run into these people all the time, Scott, that they're really worried about what other people think about them. And I don't think you can be an entrepreneur and successful if you're worried about what other people are thinking of you. And so once I find that person, then what I very simply do is teach them things that duplicate very quick. And so today with technology, people watching this video online, it's amazing the things that you can teach people to do to get a lot of people that are at the right place at the right time looking at an effective system, and that's how fast it happens.
So when it comes down to systems, you say that you use the internet a lot for the different systems. What kind of systems should leaders put into place for their teams in order to be successful?
Well, what I believe is anything that you would do, Scott, one-on-one, so and the normal things, there's a lot of basic training out there. Of course, you got to master the little things that make all the difference, and that's the ability to build relationships, a great invitation. Once you can invite someone through an excitement, enthusiasm, and get them in front of a person. A lot of people don't know how to edify really well. Give somebody else the credit instead of you. And so when you're edifying and giving somebody, making someone else the expert, find that person that's documented and get them to do every single video that you would do one-on-one. So if I was sitting, if I got excited and introduced someone to you, Scott, and we met at a Denny's restaurant or a Starbucks, anything that you would say to them, and I do understand the skills of relationships because you'd want to get to know them, get to hear what they have to offer. And it's all this concept of listening and helping them get what they want out of something instead of always telling them that you want them to do something. See what I mean? It's huge because now it's a personal, game plan for that individual. So whether they're trying to get their spouse out of a job, or they hate their job, or they want to travel, or they want to buy a new car, new home, it's so important to find out what that person wants and then design a game plan and whatever opportunity that you're in for them to get that. So, instead of just talking so much about the product or the compensation plan or the company story, you want to make it about them. So what I do in every company now is anything that I was going to do, from like the presentation to the explanation, the compensation plan or the product, a quick start, which is a 4 steps to success or steps to success, testimonies either on the product or also on the compensation plan. And what I do is I have those all available so people can very simply just point, guide, and direct people to the answers that they need. Well, now it's like my mentor actually did this with videotape with me, Scott, 25, 26 years ago now. And he used to just say, hey, listen, can you imagine having me in your pocket? Now, no one had a pocket big enough for a VHS tape, but, so I would ask people who they knew that would be interested in making extra money. And as soon as they say, well, what is this? I'd go, why are you interested? Well, it depends on what it is. And I said, listen, I'm working with this guy that's helped, hundreds of people, make a full-time income. I'd like to show this video to you. And so it was easy to teach people, to pique people's interest and get them in front of a video instead of dragging that person to a meeting or a home meeting or a weekly meeting someplace. And so over the last 6 years, I've used the internet to build groups of over 700,000 people.
Wow.
And it's effective, man. It's so effective because I think the 3 things that people need to do, Scott, when you're talking to them is, one, as they're listening to you, they got to go, wow, this makes sense. And if it makes sense, it makes dollars. Secondly, is they got to say, wow, this is easy. Is this all you do, Scott, is pique people's interest and then get them in front of videos where they can make the decision? Of course, more than one video, it's multiple exposures. And then the last one is the most important, is when they look at you straight in the face, Scott, and go, you know what, if this is all you do, I can do this. I can do this. So when a person says they can do it and will do it, by you finding out what their whys and wants are, that's how I do it. It's like, now I'm just measuring the results. Like, how many people did you pique today? How many people did you get in front to watch a video? You got to be able to monitor that. And then how many people did you get in front of the steps of success to see whether or not they were either going to A, try the product or service, B, refer you people that they know, or C, become a business builder and want to supplement or replace their income. So there it is.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Now, when you're working with all these different people, and you've created quite a few millionaires, 45 to be exact right now, what type of mindset do these millionaires have that you found through mentoring these people? Are they a little bit different than the rest of them? What takes it to be a millionaire?
Well, one of the things is I do know, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, but the normal trait, or the biggest trait that I think that entrepreneurs have, or people that make over $1 million, is you got to come from the philosophy that you love and want to help other people. You want to provide. I mean, even if you hear from extremely successful people like J. Paul Getty, used to say, listen, I'd rather get 1% off 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. Now, I know a lot of your home-based business people may have heard of that statement before, but think about this. You need to help 100 people be able to do 1%. And what a lot of people think that it is that, oh, I'll just throw 100 people in this and they'll either do it or they don't. Well, I know for a fact, Scott, you guys have a successful business. If you guys ran ads to bring somebody in for a job, once you interview them and you picked your person, isn't the next job for them to do is show up and get trained to do what they're doing?
Absolutely.
And I don't know why a lot of people that don't succeed in the home-based business arena or entrepreneurship think that you're supposed to pique someone's interest, throw them into your business, and then abandon them. It's like, hey, if I figured it out, you should figure it out. No, I want to take the time to teach that person the simple steps that they do to get results, because once you get someone results, they get addicted to that. I mean, I can still to this day, 26 years later, I can remember my very first check from my first home business. That wasn't an auto mechanic check. And it was like, wow, it wasn't much. It was like $17, and I'm going like, okay, to make more, I just got to do more of what I did to get the 17 bucks, so that first check is huge. And so my goal is to teach people how to get that check as fast as I can.
So you work with the people to get that first check, get it in their hands, and build that level of success and build that excitement in them so that they drive forward, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Robert, the number one question that a lot of people ask here is, what is the single best piece of advice that you could give our people that would make them successful in their home business?
You gotta be, it's twofold. One is you gotta humble yourself and ask for help. You just gotta ask for help. I don't know why, and I guess I do. We are all a product of our environment. So the goal is to be dependent on people that raised us, have teachers. We're dependent on teachers. And we go through all of this environment to one day, Scott, I can't wait to be independent. I can't wait to be independent. So now we're independent, and it's like a curse or something like a sin, a moral sin, for us then to go ask people for help once we get into the workforce. So we finally go get our first job, and then what? We're done? No. That's when you should be asking for help. So I understand how hard it is, because I had to get put on workman's comp, have the repo man chasing me around trying to steal my car because I was behind on payments on the car. I was being evicted out of my apartment. I really had to go through a lot of stuff to strip that ego, which I say EGO is edging God out. But I had to be willing to ask for help and be willing to admit that the place that I was in was a place that I created, personal responsibility. And then as soon as you ask for help, the second one is find a mentor that's not only willing to show you their documentation, but most important, willing to say to you, hey, listen, here's the other people that I've trained to a full-time income. Now, if people ask people that they're working with for their documentation and they start humming and hawing, think about that. I tell people, like, let's say, for instance, Scott, that you wanted to learn how to dance, that you knew there was a wedding coming up, right? And so you want to do one of those things when you show up at the wedding, you just want to freak everybody out. You start dancing, they're going, holy crap, when Scott learned that? Well, once you make the decision to do that, you got a time limit of when the wedding's going to be. And once you make that commitment, you look for a dance instructor. Now, don't you want to work with a dance instructor that can dance?
Makes sense, doesn't it?
And second, they're good at teaching other people to dance. I tell people, if you look at martial arts studios, I don't want to see the trophies of the guy that is actually the martial arts teacher, the sensei. I want to see the trophies of his students.
Absolutely.
And if he's got, hey, I got all these kids that have learned from me that took first place in these championships, well then, hey, if they did it, I can do it. So you got a lot of people out there, Scott, that seem to be, the blind leading the blind in the dark. They go, oh my God, well, I think, Jim Joe Bob makes money. And I go, well, have you ever asked to look at his back office? Well, you can't show people documentation, that's against the law. Well, first of all, that's a lie. But second of all, if you're in the same company as them, they can't entice you to get in their company. You're already in it. So, you got to find an active mentor that knows how to teach people how to do it. And I promise you, when you listen to what they tell you to do, it's way different than what you're probably doing. I guarantee it, because mentors just have the ability to be able to teach you how to do the things that get the fastest results, and they don't add on to it. They just don't add on to it. So it's sort of like if you remember Karate Kid, the whole thing was wax on, wax off. You know what I mean? Why not learn just a couple of principles that, regardless of the person that you had to defend yourself against, you could do it? You don't need to know all of this stuff. You just need to know a couple of things that are effective. So do you have to learn every dance move? No, you'd have to learn how to do one really good dance.
Absolutely.
And you would go out there and start doing it, and everybody would be going like, what the hell? And then start clearing out the dance floor, and everybody's like, well, when did you learn how to do that? You know what I mean? It's like, make a decision, make a commitment, find a mentor that's documented of helping other people succeed. Bingo.
Awesome. Now, for the expiring mentors that are out there, a lot of people, in a sense, claim to be mentors and are working towards becoming mentors themselves. What's some good advice that you could give them, the mentors that have people underneath them? What can they be doing to make them a better mentor, or a millionaire mentor for that matter?
Same thing. Find people that you can hang around that make you look like you're not making any money. Stop being the big fish in the small pond. Get out there. So, like this GoPro event that you're talking about that I'm speaking in November, this will be my 3rd year. Well, Eric Worre is actually doing what is called a 6-figure summit the 2 or 3 days before that. Well, the last time I talked to him a couple of days ago, there's 350 people there, Scott, that paid $500 a ticket, that had to document that they made 6 figures or more a year as an entrepreneur and building home-based businesses, network marketing, online marketing. Well, now the 7-figure earners, which I'm blessed to be, get in for free. Can you imagine hanging around 350 people that all make 6 figures a year or 7 figures a year? So, Jeff Roberti was one of my uplines, years ago, and the guy's made over $80 million.
Wow.
In the network marketing industry. I think I can learn from this guy. You see what I mean? So if you hang around people like Jeff Walker on the online space, he made, written up in Forbes magazine as the $400 million man. Me, I'm pretty proud of the 43 million I've made in 27 years, but these guys make me look like I'm not making any money. So I tell people, if you learn from people that are out earning you by 10 times, that's going to be able to help you learn a different mindset, a different philosophy, a different skill set that now will allow you to go down and take your, your $4,000 and $5,000 earners. If you're making, say you're making 10, 15,000. Now you get to go down and help your $2,000 and $3,000 earners get to 5 and 8. Well, what's that going to do to yours? It's going to make you 30, 50. So again, if the numbers were too high, let's say you're making 1,000 a month or 2,000 a month, that means there's probably 3 or 4 people in your group that are making 200, 300. You've got to learn to get them to 1,000, 2,000 so you can go to 10,000.
Absolutely. So surrounding yourself with the best will ultimately lead you to becoming the best, is what it comes down to. Is you want to surround yourself with some good players, and obviously people that are much higher than you, because obviously that's going to change your mentality.
Yeah. It's like Jim Rohn says it best. You're not a tree. You know what I mean? You can move. You know what I mean? So we're all meant to grow. And if you've ever seen your income plateau for any amount of time, you need to start hanging around people. Austin, Mr. Austin, the guy that started the Starkey Foundation for kids for hearing. This guy gives $110 million a year to charity.
Wow.
And so Eric introduced me to Bill Austin, and the guy flies around the world giving children that have never heard their first hearing aids.
That's amazing.
And I mean, you hang around that person, it's like, oh my God, this guy gives away more in a year than I've made in my entire career, more than double. in a year he gives away. So you hang around people like that, and they're like, "Come on, Scott, step it up. You know you're goofing off."
Raise that bar up a little higher.
And you're going, okay, okay.
Awesome. Well, that's excellent advice across the board. You got so many great points on how to be a great mentor and how to build your business forward. I'd like to invite everybody to actually join us on our website at www.networkmarketingmentors.com/episode number 6. So episode 6, because it's very important that you go there, because we're going to have show notes that are going to be all about this show here today. We're going to be linking over to Robert's book, as well as we are going to be linking back over to his educational platform, where you can actually take a look for yourself and see a little bit more about the stuff that you're training in as well. So Robert, thank you so much for joining us on the call. You've given us so much information here today, and you know what, hope to have you back on the show again someday.
Well, Scott, again, I really, really appreciate you being on your show, and I love what you guys are doing. You guys are always out there giving, and that's what it's all about. The people that give the most reap the most, and it's a universal law, and a lot of people are trying to figure out how to take care of themselves. You got to take care of others. So when you guys reached out because of things you guys have done for me in the past, anything that I can do to help you, I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again for being here, and hope to talk to you soon.
Yep. God bless.